presentation for this afternoon's panel and kind of like our chat bar up here today. For things are a little easy today, so we're going to let Rachel tell you her story.
Thank you. Hi there. I'm Rachel. It is a huge privilege and honor to be sitting here with you. I was asked to share my miracle healing and what it took to recover from a back-breaking horse fall in 2015, as well as the technique I discovered during my recovery for overcoming pain. I hope that this will inspire you to push past any pain, fear, or obstacles that may be blocking you from living your best life and your dreams. Everyone has overcome something. Everyone has a version of my story, be it a loss, death, divorce, illness, injury, or trauma. In addition to being an athlete, I'm a therapist specializing in trauma, pain management, and sports psychology. My accident taught me to live like every day is my last. Life is too short to allow your passions and dreams to just get washed down the drain. I didn't know how many more chances I would be given. I didn't dodge this bullet to stay on the sidelines another day. The good news is that inherent in every tragedy is also an opportunity to reach higher heights, to live a more fulfilling, passionate life. I had a powerful revelation in a dream. The diamond band I've worn forever on my right hand, if you can see it, was robbed. The same hand that required surgery after my fall. In the dream, I searched frantically. I was shocked to realize the diamonds were stolen. Only the setting remained, empty and barren. It was reminiscent of my life after the accident, and I felt like a shell of my former self. I had lost my passions, desires, and dreams, and the jewels of my heart, all gone. The ring looked pitiful, with only prongs. I was determined to reset it with new stones. It wasn't too late. I woke up frantically, searching for the ring. It felt like when I lay on the frozen ground, staring up at the sky as my life flashed before my over 8 years ago. It was 28 degrees. Before my feet even hit the stirrups, the horse bolted in a wild bucking frenzy. I was thrown several feet in the air, and I thought, please don't step on me, milliseconds before crashing on my back. I lay motionless a few feet from an electric fence, staring up at the sky as my 12-year-old daughter, Julia, covered my shivering body with a horse blanket and spoke to the paramedic. I broke 3 vertebrae in my sacral and thoracic spine, T12, S2, and S3. I required right-hand surgery, and I tore my right rotator cuff. Yet I was compelled to retrieve my lost dreams and what was left of my life. I'd been given a second chance, and like the ring, I realized I could reset my life. Being broken revealed profound insights leading to the miracle healing that I discovered, and also making my lost childhood dreams come true. Within 2 years, I went from merely surviving life as a single mother to thriving. I was jumping and competing horses with my daughter, painting pictures, and I wrote the book, Stay the Course. I bought my daughter a wonderful horse named Charm, fulfilling her lifelong dream. In the end, much good came from this catastrophic event. Horses have always been in my blood. I was born into the horse world, and my mom was my first trainer. She taught me to ride once I could walk, and by the age of 8, I was training for horse trials, and by 16, I had a promising riding career and was doing pony club eventing teams and rallies at the Green Mountain Horse Association in Vermont. I want to take a moment now, and she's not there, but my very first childhood trainer, Shari Cutter, who's sitting right there, and I don't know that we can see her. I have not seen her since I walked off of the cross-country course at 16. She taught me to jump, and she was one of my most favorite instructors for so many reasons, and I'm just very grateful. Thank you, Shari. I'll never forget you. It all came to an abrupt halt after a bad fall in cross country when my horse, Wiley, nearly collapsed from exhaustion. That haunted me for years. It wasn't until after I broke my back as an adult that I recovered my confidence and I truly healed. I named my healing discovery the Equine Reset. Equina meaning horse in Latin. It's both a technique as well as an overall philosophy for overcoming pain and fear. Horses are amazing teachers. Charm was the horse of a lifetime. She taught me a new way to live. She was the lead mare. She had given birth to 2 foals. She was an eventer when I met her, and I was an exercise rider for her owner, a Holsteiner breeder who encouraged me to buy her for my daughter. We both fell in love with Charm, and I sensed that she understood my fear after my accident. In the saddle, I could feel the tension in her body subside when I rode her. She had big floating strides and flashy forward movement. It was a joy and a privilege to be on her back, which I never took for granted. She was a mixture of power and sensitivity. If I moved my pinky, even slightly, she responded. She was that sensitive. Like Charm, I am sensitive, and I intuitively felt her tendency to bolt. My soft way soothed her, and we worked together like hand and glove. She was the most intelligent horse I have ever known. There was no halfway with Charm. She either won or got eliminated, but like us, she put her whole heart into everything. She nurtured and challenged Julia, taking her from a budding junior rider and shaping her into the talented rider that she became. I often joke that Charm raised my daughter. Charm was always in charge and very much a queen. I thanked her for allowing me on her back, and certainly after every fence. She taught me to stand up for myself and be assertive. Charm could answer any question, but only if you asked her correctly. Julia and I both became better riders and better people. I retrieved the passion for riding and eventing I had lost at 16 on cross country. My love for Charm healed me outside of the riding arena and contributed to the creation of my 3-prong pain technique. Please bear with me for a moment. This next part is a little bit technical but essential. The science of pain and fear. Pain and fear are the ultimate thieves. They are paralyzing and sabotage the moment. Pain creates fear, and fear worsens the pain. It is a vicious cycle which traps us in our body, steals our joy, and robs our energy and hope for the future. Surviving the day is a chore. Despite working in pain management, I didn't understand the magnitude until after my fall. The remedies are not palatable. Surgeries and medications are filled with side effects, often worse than the pain itself. Alternative remedies have their place, but they're temporary, expensive, and can't be done without the aid of another. Ultimately, one may still be unable to participate in life. The underlying elements of pain are the same regardless of the nature of the pain. Pain is pain. Physical or mental, it begins in the brain, which sends signals telling us that something hurts. Those signals may become confused, causing everything to hurt. In effect, the wiring gets crossed. This explains wanting to cry when we hit our finger with a hammer or are sick with a fever. It is why the amputee feels pain in the phantom limb. When the brain perceives a threat, the nervous system gets flooded with stress chemicals, increasing the pain. In the wild, if the prey escapes the predator, it can be free. Sometimes the zebra outruns the mountain lion. Unlike animals, we can't escape our fearful thoughts. We turn on ourselves, generating our own internal threat. During my recovery, I discovered a solution derived in part from the concept of neuroplasticity, or the brain's ability to develop new neural pathways and calm the system down. The key is to engage the parasympathetic nervous system responsible for the relaxation response and suppress the effects of the sympathetic nervous system, or the fight or flight response, and lower pain levels. The research on the diencephalon in the midbrain plays a role in soothing the nervous system. It is sensitive to rhythmic, repetitive movements like in utero activity, like the sound of the mother's heartbeat. The fight or flight response, or threat physiology, floods the system with stress chemicals like adrenaline, cortisol, and histamines. Like the zebra, this is a survival response, mobilizing the body to outrun the threat. Once relaxed, the system settles down and pain decreases. Simply put, a sense of safety reduces pain and increases healing and happiness. This was true for me. After my accident, I was flat on my back, in a brace, trapped in my body for months. The pain was scary. If I turned a certain way, my fractured thoracic vertebrae felt like a searing hot knife in my back, literally shocking me. My fractured sacrum throbbed so badly it felt like I'd been beaten with a baseball bat. I couldn't foresee a future of merely surviving pain. My life was worth more than that. I tried everything from narcotics, cortisol injections, chiropractic massage, and biofeedback, but it was all temporary. Occasionally, my thoughts darkened, and I panicked. Awful scenarios flooded me. The fear of developing cauda equina, a syndrome where the compression of nerves cuts off sensation, leading to potential paralysis. This hovered over me. I noticed that I was not captive to that fear when I daydreamed about horseback riding or was painting a picture. Instead, I could feel the energy move through my body. I did breathing exercises, painting, listened to music, and moved my feet in a circular motion. There was a repetitive quality to the activities. Ultimately, pain and fear are just trapped energy. The combination of this yearning in my heart to ride, the visualization of my dreams, and the repetitive activities and exercise released something and brought me peace. The feeling reminded me of riding and the swaying rotation of my hips in the saddle. It was then I realized I had relied upon the same principles in my recovery that I internalized as a child rider, and there was a scientific explanation for feeling better. I had created a new neural pathway in my brain. The repetitive movements from physical therapy and painting, the training principles instilled in me from dressage, and the desire in my heart to ride evolved into an innovative technique to overcome pain. And my goal was no longer to just be pain-free. Whenever I painted or did my exercises, I visualized cantering in the woods, the sun on my face, the wind in my hair. In the end, it was my love of horses and painting that replaced the pain and ultimately healed me. In combination with neuroscience, the dressage training principles of rhythm, relaxation, connection, impulsion, straightness, and collection became the basis of my pain management technique, which I elaborated upon in my book, Stay the Course. 10 months after fracturing 3 vertebrae, I was back in the saddle for 5 minutes at a time. A few weeks later, I was riding for 20 minutes, and 18 months later, I was cross-country schooling and competing over fences. I believe my miracle healing was due to this technique. It easily could have taken me 3 times as long to heal. Much like the training principles of impulsion or an impetus to act, holding my goal in my mind's eye propelled me through the pain, and everything just came together. The key principles of my pain technique, the Equine Reset, are reflection, repetition, and release, and is designed to conquer pain and fear and drive it right through us and release it from our systems. The difference between this and other pain management techniques is the primary goal is not to overcome pain. It's to go forward and achieve goals and dreams. Overcoming pain is a perk. It's a byproduct of living our best life. Having something to live for pulled me out of the rut created by pain. While recovering, my sole focus was riding horses again. I was unaware that this yearning was the most important aspect of my technique. I had discovered an exciting solution that could help others suffering from physical as well as emotional pain. This realization gave existential meaning and purpose to my life. I've learned there are players and spectators in life. Players stick their neck out and go for it despite the fear of looking bad or messing up. They are not ego-driven, they just do it. They don't judge others because they know the terror of leaving their comfort zone and taking the risk to go forward. In the end, they are the winners, despite missteps and even major falls. There is no such thing as a mistake other than to not do it at all. The spectators are more common among us. They sip iced tea on the sidelines afraid to look bad. They gossip and criticize the players, living vicariously and driven by envy. They celebrate the losses, and they are the frenemies and haters that we must shake off to live our dreams. My mom always said, there's free rent space in your head, so don't let them have it. But I think Theodore Roosevelt said it best when he said, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena. whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who strives to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, but who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Thank you very much for listening. I dare you to be a player in your own life.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you. Do I just sit here?
Could you discuss your pictures on your screen there?
Sure. That was interesting. Do you all have any questions?
I noticed you talked about pain management and trying to change how the brain thinks with pain and stuff like that. I've never heard of that before. So if somebody's riding a horse and they get hurt and medication's not helping them, what could you do?
Well, there are many other things besides just medication. I mean, sometimes in the acute phase, like right after surgery or right after an injury, probably not much is going to help. But it's the prolonged use of opiates that is being found to not be the real solution. They have their place, and I'm not a physician. I like to make that clear. For me, it's a combination of what I was saying in this, which is, to make it simple, in the nervous system, we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And in the parasympathetic nervous system, that is the relaxation response. Our bodies secrete different hormones. It's the pleasure principle. It's all the things that make us feel good and relaxed. And the sympathetic is the fight or flight response, which we need. It's a survival response because it mobilizes us to outrun the prey. So, but the problem with living in a heightened state, it's a dysregulation of the nervous system because most of us are not being chased by lions. And when we live in anxiety, our blood pressure goes from, normal to 120, not literally, but it gets jacked up, and the stress chemicals that I talked about, cortisol especially, adrenaline, course through our veins, and it increases pain perception. So one of the big things that you want to do is learn to regulate your nervous system.
Do you
And
think getting on a horse and working with the horses helps?
yes,
Not think about the pain?
absolutely. That is, to keep it simple, that was the technical answer. But to keep it simple, I didn't know the technical answer back when I was doing it. I just knew that that was the only thing that made me feel good. It was the only thing that gave me any joy. And then when I had the joy, I noticed that I would forget about the pain.
I think working with horses helps a lot with pain.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So he asked about your images up there.
Okay, sure.
Oh, you can't go too far.
I can't go too far. Okay, well, I'll start from the beginning. We'll pretend I have the clicker. Click. This is when the accident happened, and that is my daughter, who basically saved my life, Julia. I was on the stretcher. I don't know what more to say about that one. It's pretty self-explanatory. Over a year later, I was cleared to ride for 5 minutes at a time. I got a position as an exercise rider for this lovely horse. The owner is a Holsteiner breeder, and this was probably the most powerful horse I've ever ridden. That's Vita. My basic role was to help cross-country school her while the owner was training the horse that we later bought, her baby. We were convinced and persuaded, and it didn't take much persuasion to buy this horse. This is Charm. I bought her from the lady that I exercise rode for. And I bought her for my daughter, but she did become, my daughter was kind enough to share her with me, and she became the horse of my heart and my daughter's heart. And we basically shared her, competed her. She's an eventer. I shared a little bit about her in the speech. That's just a picture. That is me underneath that hugging Charm. 18 months after I had that accident, broke 3 vertebrae, I competed in combined training at the Carolina Horse Park and came in 2nd place, and it was a pretty big deal to me. Even though it wasn't the highest level, it was still a pretty big deal to do that competition after I had broken my back, to have that confidence. So that's me hugging her after the competition was over. This is a picture that my dad took when I was 16 years old on that Pony Club eventing team that Shari Cutter trained me. You may remember that horse. That's Wiley. And walking away from that riding career, I lost so much confidence. So healing from this accident and retrieving my lost passion sort of healed me from the original accident, if that makes any sense. So anyway, my dad named that card, it was like a Christmas card, Jumping for Joy. And that's the name of my speech, because I think that when we access joy, that is the true pain relief. And the technique that I came up with, which is in my book, so I won't get into it now, but it's based on harnessing your joy in a very structured way to overcome pain, using the principles of dressage. Up here we have Julia and Charm, and in the corner right we have, I'm doing a jump school at a horse show, and that's my older daughter Charlotte, who is not as much a horse person, but she is a big fan. And that's my painting that I did while flat on my back after I broke my back. And another painting. And then if you can see down there, that's me walking, I believe that's me walking the course at the Green Mountain Horse Association on cross country. Can you see that?
I'd come up there and look at it closely.
Anyway,
Very nice.
thank you.
The painting on the bottom right-hand corner, is that something you painted?
Yeah,
Very nice.
thank you so
Is that
much.
like a watercolor?
It's acrylic.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, I'm an artist too.
And you mentioned you had a book out?
It's coming. It's
Okay.
called Stay the Course. What can I say? It's my story, but it's also about the pain management technique that I came up with. It gets in depth, how to do it, the background, the dressage training principles, and it's based on basically riding a course. Like life is a course, and having a goal and getting there, and using the training principles in different chapters to talk about that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.